This is my fourth year of covering the NFL draft here on YouTube, and I want to do things a little bit differently. The previous 2 years, I tried to do one video for every single team, handing out grades for every single pick with in-depth analysis, and it hasn't gone the way I wanted it to. The year before last, it took way too long to get done, and last year, because of circumstances that were out of my control, I didn't even get done. So instead of doing all that, instead of talking about potentially negative things with the NFL draft, I decided this year I want to go full positivity and just talk about my favorite pick from each NFL team. Now, we're not going to be talking about first rounders in this video because that's way too easy. I could just talk about every first round pick for pretty much every team. There's a couple teams where that would be an exception. But I instead want to talk about the day 2, day 3 guys, really get into the weeds of some of the non-household names that got picked this year, and talk about guys that I'm a really big fan of, guys that I want to see succeed in the league, guys that I think can succeed in the league. And so I figured this was the best way to do that. We're going to go division by division for all 32 teams, 8 videos over the course of the next week or so, talking about, my favorite pick for each team, like I said. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this and talk about my favorite pick for every NFC East team. We're going to talk about Cole Wisniewski, the safety out of Texas Tech. And I know right away, 7th round pick, might be getting ahead of ourselves. I fully understand that. But in my personal opinion, I thought Wisniewski was worth like an early day 3 pick. I had a mid 4th round grade on him. He was my 12th safety in a pretty damn good safety class. We're talking about a guy who's 6'3", 214 pounds. I like his profile a lot, and I think he can become a potential starter. Now, obviously, he's going to make the roster. If he doesn't make the roster, that really sucks. But he has opportunities with this Eagles team. You have Andrew Makuba as your starting free safety. He's great. We love Andrew Makuba. Outside of that, though, Marcus Epps is your starting strong safety. Not exactly a strong, secure player. You got Michael Carter. You've got JT Gray. You've got Andre Sam. Like, it's not the strongest safety room outside of Makuba, right? I think Makuba has, star potential. But outside of that, you're kind of scraping the barrel here. And because of that, I think Wisniewski has a clear lane to not only get involved, but to potentially start. We're talking about a big safety with good range, despite his lack of, true long speed and athleticism. At 6'4", he's like a long strider, can cover a good bit of ground. Very high IQ defender, very good play recognition, showed a lot of route awareness and anticipation in coverage. Goodness gracious, words are difficult. He can hold his own in man-to-man against tight ends and some of your slower wide receivers despite his lack of fluidity because of his anticipation ability, because he is able to kind of predict where wide receivers and tight ends are going to break before they do, and he's pretty damn good at doing it. He has great hand-eye coordination and coverage, allowing him to get his hands into throwing windows. He's capable of breaking up passes pretty well. And then downhill against the run, he's a former linebacker, and you see that with his run instincts and gap recognition. He attacks downhill with good, decisive angles. He can shed tight ends and receivers with ease in the run game, and he brings the boom. He likes to lay people out. Now, on the flip side, he does have a lengthy injury history, which is likely why he fell so far. He's not the fastest. He's not the most fluid. He can get a little grabby in coverage, but I really, really do like him as a complement to Makuba. I think this can be your safety tandem for the foreseeable future. And I know, again, that's a lot to say about a 7th round pick, but if it wasn't for the injury, Wisniewski would have been an early day 3 player, and then you're talking a lot more about, okay, it's easier to say that he could start, right? And even if he doesn't start right away, I do think he has a role on special teams, which should get him a roster spot. I think he can move his way up the ladder. And again, with Marcus Epps being your other starter, sooner rather than later, Wisniewski being a polished player, just struggling to stay healthy in college, he could find his way into that rotation. He could find his way even into the pure opposite starting spot of Makuba and really make an impact. He's a good run defender, good coverage player, super, super smart. These are things that are going to complement Makuba well with his range. So I really like this pick for Philly. Again, if he doesn't make the roster, I'm going to look a little silly, but I do think, given their safety room, there's a very clear path for him to get that opportunity, and where there's opportunity, there's potential, and I love the potential of Cole Wisniewski. Continuing the NFC East with the New York Giants, I absolutely adore the Malachi Fields pickup, the wide receiver out of Notre Dame. He just felt like such a John Harbaugh player. And we'll talk about the big reason for that, but I want to address the more exciting aspect, and that is his ability as a pass catcher. We're talking about a guy who is 6'4", 218 pounds, and that's something the Giants receiver room did not have. Obviously, you have Malik Neighbors, who's a superstar. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. He's a smaller guy. On top of that, you've got Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin, Juju Smith-Schuster, Braxton Berrios, Odell Beckham Jr., Jalen Hyatt, Xavier Gibson. It's a lot of small receivers. Darius Slayton as well is one of the bigger guys, and he's 6'1", 198 pounds. Like, it was not a big receiver room. You didn't have that true big body X. Now you do with Malachi Fields at 6'4", 218 pounds. And not only is he big, but he's big and it's good for him, right? There's some guys that are just big to be big. That's not Malachi Fields. He weaponizes his size at the catch point with super strong hands that can haul in passes through contact. He's really good at boxing out at the catch point on comebacks and curls and in the red zone. Like, he knows how to use his big frame to his advantage. And I know he's not like the most fluid route runner or anything like that, but he doesn't need to be in this receiver room. That's what Malik Neighbors is for. That's what Mooney's going to do. That's what Calvin Austin is going to do. They're going to stretch the field. They're going to run routes for you. Fields is somebody that 3rd and 5, gotta have it. You can throw it up to him, or you can hit him on a curl and he's going to box out and open up for you. And the good thing is, with his route tree being limited, the routes he was running were comebacks, curls, hitches, posts, and goes. So either going downfield and mossing somebody, or making himself available short so the quarterback can pick up a first down. He's a chain mover that can also win downfield. Sure, he's not super athletic, but he's got better speed than you'd expect for his size. He just has a lot of exciting traits with 32+ inch arms. He's got a really good catch radius. Dart can kind of throw the ball away from him and he can pluck it out of the air. He also has really good feel against zone coverage, which again will help him as just like a true chain mover. He's not somebody who can press because of his size and his strength. He's giving you a lot in the passing game that you didn't have. There's a reason the Giants traded up to go get him. They gave up a couple 4th-round picks. That was pretty notable, and I think it was worthwhile. Now, on top of what he's giving you as a pass catcher, my favorite aspect of his game is his run blocking. He's strong, he's gritty, he's willing, he's dominant against corners out in space. He is a weapon in the run game as a blocker. And given the way this team is built, you go out and you get Pat Ricard, you have John Harbaugh, you have Greg Roman as one of your offensive coaches. You have Cam Scadaboo and Tyrone Tracy is this really nice 1-2. Jackson Dart is a really good running quarterback. Like, you want to run the football. That's going to be the identity of this Giants offense. And having a guy like Fields helps that out a lot. Because imagine you're a DB out in space. You've got Fields, like, manned up on you. And then you've got Pat Ricard running out in space with Cam Scadaboo coming behind him. You're not involved in that play. You are useless. You are not important. You're not going to do anything because of these guys. And this is going to help out the run game a lot. I think Fields is a perfect fit, both in terms of what he brings as a receiver and what he brings as a run blocker. This was great for the Giants. He's such like a John Harbaugh guy. And I really do think, even if he's not the most productive guy in the world, you're going to see him targeted a lot on 3rd down. You're going to see him making a difference in the run game. And he is going to be an important piece of this Giants offense going forward. For the Washington Commanders, this one had to be Joshua Josephs, the edge rusher out of Tennessee. And it's for a lot of the same reasons that I like the denied Dennis Sutton pick for Green Bay, because DDS over there is a specialist. He's a role player. And Joshua Josephs is a role player as well, just on the opposite end of the spectrum. DDS is your early down edge setting run defender, whereas Joshua Josephs, I feel, is going to be a career designated pass rusher. And I know that might be seen as an insult to some, but we're talking about a 5th-round pick in a weaker draft class. Once you get down the board, once you get to day 3, and even really at the end of day 2 in this class, you're looking for these niche role players. You're looking for guys who can fill a specific task, and that is exactly what Josephs is. He is a pass rushing specialist who really struggles to defend the run because he is undersized for the position. We're talking about a guy here who is, double checking my notes here, 6'3", 242 pounds. He just doesn't have the bulk to consistently set the edge or, maintain gap discipline up front. Like, that's just not his game, and that's okay. Because you're not drafting Joshua Josephs to come in and be a full-time 3-down edge rusher. You're bringing him in to say, okay, it's 3rd down. We need some juice off the bench. We need a spark plug. Throw him out there. He's going to come out with his hair on fire. He's a great athlete. He's going to beat the tackle off the snap, get to the quarterback, and he does struggle to finish plays, so maybe not get the sack, but definitely redirect the quarterback into somebody else, create some havoc, just kind of serve as a Tasmanian devil, so to speak, a little out-of-control ball of lightning that can disrupt the offense's flow and perhaps open up for his teammates, right? So I like this pick a lot for that reason. It gives you another one of these pass rushing specialists, which is clearly something Washington felt they needed up front. You look at Odafe Owe, Kayvon Chason, 2 free agent additions that they made, both guys who fit that mold. They're both pass rushing first edge rushers who aren't necessarily great run defenders because they are undersized. In fact, this wasn't my comp for him, but I have seen Kayvon Chason floated out as a Joshua Josephs comp. I fully understand that. I think they are similar players. Now, obviously, Chason, he was a first-round pick, kind of was viewed as a bust for a while there, and then turned it around in the past couple years and has really turned into a quality pass rusher. I think Josephs, which with much lower expectations, will be able to, kind of meet that level of play that Chason has shown us in the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, you might be looking at more of like a Jacob Martin. And Washington fans, I'm sure you remember last year he was a productive part of your defense. He was important on third down, obvious passing situations, coming out as a true pass rusher and disrupting the quarterback, right? I think Josephs can fill that role for you. He can be that type of player, just adding a little more juice to that front seven, which clearly Washington wanted to do with their first round pick in Sonny Styles. Makes a ton of sense. I like this pick. Thought the value was really good. This is a guy who I had a mid to late third round grade on. You get him here towards the beginning of the fifth round. Love the value. Really like the player. Really like the fit. Makes a ton of sense. This is just a great pick all around for Washington here in the fifth round. Wrapping up the NFC East here with the Dallas Cowboys, Jayshon Barham was one of my favorite picks of the entirety of the 2026 NFL draft. And I will say this is not how I felt initially. I had my concerns when his name was first called, not because of the player. I love Jayshon Barham. It has nothing to do with that. It was just the initial fit with Dallas because I knew that they were going to make him a full-time linebacker. And you can see from my big board ranking at the bottom of the screen there, I viewed him as an edge. I thought he was one of the 10 best edges in this class. And while I do recognize that he has more experience at linebacker, I just walked away more impressed with the edge tape. That being said, thinking more and more about what this Dallas defense is going to look like with their new defensive coordinator, Christian Parker, coming over from the Philadelphia Eagles, working under Vic Fangio, there's going to be a lot of blitzing. There's going to be a lot of disguised coverages and weird, funky things to keep the offense on their toes, and Jayshon Barham fits that perfectly. And not only is he a perfect fit for that, but the Dallas run defense needs to improve. That is something they have been looking actively to get better at, and Barham was one of the best run defenders in this class, regardless of position. Now, I will admit, I think he's better as a run defender off the edge, but he's still a damn good run defending off-ball linebacker. So the cool thing about Barham is not only are you getting, somebody that I think day one can step in and be in that linebacker rotation. I know he's not starting currently because you've got DeMarvion Overshone and D. Winters, but I don't think D. Winters is going to hold on to that job for too crazy long. I am so high on Barham, and if he can grow quickly, like his development at edge was rapid last year. He only played half a season, and every single week you saw substantial growth. If he can translate that growth into furthering his skills as an off-ball linebacker, just reacting to things a little bit quicker, getting a little bit more comfortable in coverage, things like that, then he can be a stud. If nothing else, I think he will make a nice piece if they ever decide to come out in 3 linebacker sets on early downs against the run, line him up as like a strong side backer. He can take on tight ends and even tackles in the run game, stack and shed consistently. He has a really good nose for the ball. He sniffs out screens super well as well. He's an amazing downhill player. And I do think with Overshone, who is more of an athletic coverage linebacker, this can be a really, really nice pairing. And that's not getting into the ability to blitz with him, sending him downfield through the A-gap at a running back. He'll blow that running back up and make the quarterback cry. You can put him off the edge if you want to, get funky. Maybe you have him and Donovan Ezeraku or Malachi Lawrence coming off the edge side by side. That's a nightmare for an offensive line, having to block guys that are that quick, especially if it's Ezeraku. I mean, those two guys on the same side of the line being as quick as they are would be a nightmare for offensive lines to try to have to block. And Barham just brings the energy. He brings the boom. When it comes to a pro comparison, I know a lot of people were throwing out Frankie Louvu. I totally see that. I didn't go with that because I was thinking more edgewise, but Dallas fans, you've seen what Frankie Louvu can do in Washington. He's an intimidating player. Whether you want to admit it or not, he's an intimidating player. And I think Barham can absolutely be your own Frankie Louvu with even higher upside, if I'm being honest. I think the athleticism and the development, how quick he was developing last year, and just his overall energy and demeanor give him a higher ceiling than Louvu. So I'm super excited to see Barham in the NFL. He's going to be one of my favorite defensive players very, very quickly. We'll have to see how quick he gets onto the field. Again, with the way that their linebacker core is built, love Overshone. He's had some injury problems, so, knock on wood, hope it doesn't happen. But maybe if something goes there, he can step in. Or with D. Winters, I know the Niners traded him away to the Cowboys. He gave up draft assets for him. But he's a smaller guy. If the run defense is struggling, I wouldn't be surprised to see Barham get some reps over him there, here and there. And if that's the case, I don't see him turning back, So I'm really excited to see Barham in Dallas. I know Dallas, the coaching staff has already spoken pretty highly about him because he's a first guy in, last guy out mentality type of guy, which is always great to see. So I love Barham. I love the fit in Dallas. Took me a little bit to come around to it, but once I saw the vision, once I realized the defense he's going to be going into and what type of role he can play, I really fell in love with this pick. So this is easily, if I were to make like a top 10 list, this would be in the top 3 or 5 for my favorite picks of the 2026 NFL draft. So shout out to Dallas for this one. This is an awesome one, and I'm really excited to see how it pans out for him. But anyways, folks, that is going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like down below, as it does help out the channel a ton. It shows your support, it shows you care, and I really do appreciate it. Also, make sure to let me know down in the comments below what your favorite pick was from each of the teams mentioned in this video. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Anything like that, I would love to hear your input down below. And definitely make sure to subscribe for more NFL content coming your way throughout the rest of the offseason. This series is probably going to be the last thing I do about the draft. I might do some assorted film breakdowns here and there. We'll have to see. But either way, there's going to be more football content throughout the summer, into the regular season and beyond, that you definitely won't want to miss. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to not miss out on any of it. And above all else, I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you enjoy it, because you're all wonderful people and you truly do deserve it. And also, happy Pride Month.
Had a chance on the throwback. This was an ill-advised throw. What an unbelievable catch by Cole Kmet. And he cups it too. No movement when he hits the ground, tucked up against his shoulder. Wow. Using that